You are tuning into one of the greatest motorcycle content creators of all time. Ladies and gentlemen, Kaplan America.
We're back again. Round two. We're here with the New England Motorcycle Road Racing Executive Director, John Grush, and Noel Doucette, the Series Director, who run the Loudon Classic, which is coming up on June 13th and 15th. If you haven't been to that event, I think it's Bike Week's best kept secret, because some of the players in the industry that are down on Weirs Beach doing the scene at Bike Week don't know about this event. It's 15 miles away. It's been going on for 102 years. I was at the 100th anniversary, and this year is going to be huge. There's a $400,000 purse. Maybe you can bring that flyer up. $400,000 purse going on, and it is at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Massive facility, like something similar to Daytona. It's not like the local regional speedways. This one's huge. It has a massive campground. If you want to go there and camp out, you can. There's a international motorcycle show in the parking lot, just like at Daytona, where they have Harley Davidson, demo rides, Suzuki, Yamaha, a few other manufacturers, and a big vendor row. So you can go up there and have fun at the motorcycle show. You can camp out. They have stunt riders going on, and it's not just the pro road racing. They also have a street fighter, which is kind of like the super hooligan class, which has become real popular. And they have a street fighter local class, but a total of $400,000 in purses. And there might even be some other stunt riders coming. We were talking to East Coasting guys, Gabe, this morning. He might be coming up. And Alex Fox from Slide GP, which used to be Drifter Cross. So it's going to be a spectacular week of fun. And it starts the week before the actual actually starts on Wednesday, and Thursday is the Penguin Road Racing School, which I'm working now towards getting my Ninja 650 ready to go to that school. And the plan is to be there Thursday and ride the school. Friday is a qualifier for the big race, and also the NEMR series is going on. Saturday is the big race, and then there's more racing Sunday too. Is that correct, John?
Yeah, Sunday is the end of the weekend, but our club races.
So great way to start off. It's the beginning of Bike Week. It actually starts before Bike Week starts, because technically it starts on Saturday when your big race is, right? So it's
Saturday's the first official day of Bike Week, yes.
But if you're coming from out of town and you want to race and compete and you want to come ride the track, you can do that in both the Penguin School and, of course, in the races and qualifiers on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. After that, we'll see you at Gunstock for the hill climb. I'm going to take my CR500 over the top, hopefully. And there is the road hill climb they do down at Weirs Beach. I think that's on Thursday. So it'll be a week full of fun. Highly recommend you camp out at the racetrack. And the reason why I recommend that, it's quiet at night. It used to be, I went there in the 80s. It was like a war zone there. It was totally insane. It's the same guys going. Now we're all, 55, 60, 65 years old. So with our families, a lot of campers there. It's quiet at night. It's a great spot, 15 miles from Weirs Beach, and it's affordable and a lot of fun. So highly recommend that you come check out all the fun. I'm going to be there. In fact, if you watch this podcast, I'm going to donate 250 tickets to the first 250 people that show up to do a museum tour. So you just got to say you've watched this podcast, and at the ticket booth, you can buy tickets right at the gate. You don't need to pre-register. Just show up and be ready to have some fun on any of these days. Saturday is going to be awesome. So it's a close-knit, family-oriented organization. Last year, I showed up and met Noel 2 years ago, and John, and I just had a great time. You'll be able to walk into the pits and walk around and talk to the racers and feel like you're part of the action. So my co-host, Bill Blythe, has been racing there since what year, Bill?
Well, geez, I started going up to Loudon in 1978, so it's been quite a while now. I don't do it as much anymore, but I do get out there now and again. Yep.
So, yeah, you've been doing some trials. You won a trials championship last year, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. We went out on a trials bike, a brand new Gas 300, and knocked it out of the park. Had a lot of wins and a lot of fun. But like I was saying before, this sport of trials helps support any sport, especially road racing, which is very important.
So, John, I think when we were on the phone earlier, you were inviting people to come into the pits. They can actually, how does that work?
No, I mean, it's very open, approachable, accessible, which is much different than a lot of the racing out there. You know, when your ticket gives you pit access, and only, I guess, if you have a minor with you, you have to have a minor waiver signed by a legal guardian or a parent, just one of them, and they can come into the pit area with you. Without that, they have to stay outside of the pit tunnel and stand outside of the spectator area. But, we welcome spectators to come in, walk around the garage area, meet the riders, see the machinery up close, get to smell the smells of different race fuels being burnt, and see people throwing wrenches around. I mean, it's fun. It's a great atmosphere and a family atmosphere for the racers, and we welcome all types.
If somebody wanted to get involved in road racing, you have the Penguin Racing School. Eric Wood and his family run that. How does that work? Do you have to have a riding suit, or can you rent one there?
At the Penguin School, you can literally just show up, and they have a limited amount of motorcycles that they rent out that are ready to go, but they have full leathers, boots, gloves, helmet that you can all rent from them. And you sign up for the school, and there's different levels that you can do just to track experience and get a feel for the track, ride around. But regardless, if you ride a street bike on the street, it will make you 100 times safer, because you'll understand the capabilities of your motorcycle, braking, how to evade things, how to deal with many different situations that you just don't get to handle on the street.
I highly recommend going. I've been thinking about doing it myself for a while, and what a great week that would be. Come out and do the class 2 days, watch the races, head down to Weirs Beach, just have a good time. Bring your whole family. It's definitely a family-friendly sport. And the pit experience, walking through the pits, is something you need to experience. And if you're a social media influencer, or if you've got Instagram, TikTok, YouTube channel, and you want to come and film there, I went in to get a press pass, and Noel, who I met a couple years ago, was awesome. Everybody's real friendly. You try getting a pit pass at Daytona or somewhere, it's like, forget about it, Here, they welcome you. They want to promote not only this race series going on at Loudon, but also the Northeast Motorcycle Race Series and the sport in general. So if you got a camera and you want to come up and film this thing, you can walk around the pits, interview the riders, get right down close to the starting line, or film from the stands, whatever you want to do. But it's something that you need to experience. Are you you had the baggers there last year, didn't you?
Yeah, we had baggers, and what we found out, we had 6 entries, and actually 4 bikes ended up racing. So it wasn't very exciting to watch, and that's why we switched over to our Street Fighter, which is based off of the Moto America Super Hooligans rules. And but we already have 22 entries, I think, for the Street Fighter class, and so go from 6 entries for actual racers to 22 entries. It's a much more exciting race to watch.
Describe the Street Fighter bike. What do you need to race?
Here you go. You put me on the spot now. The Street Fighter race is basically air or water-cooled twins, and they can't have a fairing on them, so they're exposed naked bikes. First we were going to call it the Naked Race Series, and thought there was a pretty good marketing charm to that, but I got overruled by more sensible heads. So, but it's much more relatable to the actual street riders, the bikes that they'd ride on the street, and some of these bikes produce over 190 horsepower at the rear wheel, so they're not toys, and they're going to be pretty exciting and fun to watch.
As an example, the Buell 1190 SX that we have in stock that we sell here, that would be a perfect motorcycle to take into this class. And if you're going to be there, if you come, I'm going to be parked on the infield with my transporter. You might have seen the videos of it. And we're going to bring a brand new 80 horsepower Stark, and we're going to raffling it off. So if you can come meet us there and get a raffle ticket, maybe leave a winner of a motorcycle. But so I'll also be there to have some of the gas bikes, probably the Stark and the Buell, and I'll have my Kawasaki 650 Ninja. I didn't want to start on a 180 horsepower bike. I thought I'd kill myself. So We got a little 60 horsepower 650. It's like a, beginners. It'd be like starting motocross on a CR500. You want to start on a 125. So
It's pretty interesting. We have guys come up with, very expensive Ducatis that have 180, 190 horsepower, and they go out on the track and they're getting passed by guys on Ninja 300s that have 36 horsepower. So it's humbling for those guys with these exotic bikes that go on track and think they're going to kill it right away and find out that there's a little more to it than riding around.
It's corner speed and braking. Those are the things you really got to know.
it's all rider skill for sure. So this is the oldest motorcycle road race in America history. A lot of you guys may not realize that too. There's a lot of history here. When was your first year attending the?
1983 is when I started and met Billy in those years, and stayed around till 1989, and then I took a step away to raise a family and came back in 2000. I think it was 12.
And how did you end up being the executive director of this whole series?
I lost the draw. No, I mean, the series was run by the racetrack itself, and they pulled Eric Wood and I into the office and said, hey, guys, we don't want to be running races anymore. And so if you want motorcycle racing to continue, you need to take it over. And so originally, Eric and I took it over together and quickly realized that needed someone to spend 100% of their time and energy into the race series, and Eric wasn't committed. Well, he's already committed to the school, so we separated the line there where Eric did just the school, and I took up the series and talked Noelle into coming along board and saying, hey, what are you doing this weekend? And it's not that hard. And she's had fun ever since then.
So that's a pretty cool story. You have 6 race weekends for your series now?
Yeah, we used to do 7, and what happened is, we're dealing with normal people that have real jobs, and it got pretty expensive for people, and a lot of the people couldn't come to all 7 races, and they weren't spread out enough, and a lot of these guys are going from paycheck to paycheck trying to make it. So, our series is definitely a homegrown, family-oriented series where, you can be banging bars with somebody one day, and then if you fall down, that same guy that you were competing against is in your garage helping you put your motorcycle back together again. So it's a very close-knit community. And when I left in 1989 and came back in 2012, the vibe was still there. It was still a family group of people that competed against each other.
Racers look out for one another, really. And there's courteous driving on the track where, you won't cut anyone off or push anyone off the track. It's a kinder, gentler kind of racing, but it takes skill and courage to make it to the checkered flag.
Definitely. It's, it's a commitment. It's not only a financial commitment, but it's, tough on the body. All of us has touched the pavement at least once, and it's not a question of if you're ever going to fall down. It's just when you're going to fall down. Everybody falls down.
It happens. And racing goes on in the rain. The National or the Classic a couple of years ago, I think there were 10 restarts.
We had more than we should of restarts, and that was just it was very difficult because the way the rules were written, that it couldn't end on I had to end on a checkered, and we just weren't going to get there. And so I had to, after 6 restarts, I think it was, we had to pull it and say, hey, we're not going to finish this race under a checker flag.
There were extremely difficult conditions, pouring rain, icy track, but racing continues in the rain. I like that about New England road racing. The fact that, we don't stop just because it's raining. It's another kind of skill. In fact, John, aren't you kind of good in the rain yourself?
I've done pretty well in the rain. So, I came from a ski racing background, so I guess I liked sliding around and being totally out of control.
It's great.
But no, it's interesting. Loudon has produced a lot of national level racers, and a lot of the Loudon racers go to other tracks and do pretty well. And I think it's just because if you can ride at Loudon, you can ride anywhere. Just like if you can ski in the Northeast, you can ski anywhere in the world. So it's definitely the same kind of connection.
guys, if you come into the races, you'll be able to be up and close seeing these bikes. And it's not like you're going to be you won't be stuck in the grandstands. You can come out and hang out in the pits. And I want you to think of this podcast as a personal invitation for everybody watching this. We're inviting you. Come up to Loudon, camp out, go to the school, and become part of the family that the New England series is. And these guys are very approachable. They'll be super friendly. You won't be intimidated. And it's a spirit of trying to help each other get out on the track and enjoy this. And if you don't want to race, I'm sure you'll have a great time spectating. And that's the main thing. We want you guys to show up and bring your families and friends. So please share this podcast on your Facebook page or on Instagram or however else you can, and load up the truck with your bikes and bring your family up and come have a good time. So we want to pass this on to the next generation. We all had our fun. At least us guys are all over 60, and we've been there since the 80s. So me as a spectator and these guys as racers. So we want to pass this on and have it live on long after us. And we can't do it unless you show up. So you got to show up. It's 80% of it. I
think, another interesting point is if you love racing and want to be a part of it but aren't going to race yourself, we definitely look for volunteers and staff to be helping us out. It takes the Army to make these things happen, and it's really hard to find people that are enthusiastic about the sport, want to be close and part of it, and we're definitely always looking for people to help us out.
There have been people who have really put a lifetime of effort into helping put the races on. Corner workers, officials, starters, all that kind of thing, and there's so much more. How many people does it take to put a race on, John? Approximately?
Well,
2?
Way more than 2. Just with our normal staff, it's about 20 plus people, just the core of from race control to timing and scoring, pre-grid tech, registration, referees. Then we have all the corner marshals, which we try to have.
I think we usually have 22 to 26 of them. So
that's a lot on a 1.6 mile course.
Right.
Yeah, you have to be line of sight around the track, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, the same way it is at the Isle of Man.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy.
So on top of everything else that we mentioned, they can actually come get involved and be part of the team. They can just show up and you'll find a spot for them.
I mean, some of the positions need a little training because
Sure.
we
Like
can't
a
just put anybody out
marshal.
out on the track and have motorcycles coming over 100 miles an hour at them. But
They have to work up to that, right?
but we definitely have the willingness to train people and have people be part of our team.
That's good. It's a great way to feel part of the program,
Right.
and people come back time and time again to become, to be involved in that way. It's
No, there's people been involved since I was racing that were still there, so it's crazy.
Right. Yep.
Noel, how did you get involved? I know your husband's a multi-time New England champion.
Yes.
How did you get involved in this sport?
Literally, John and Eric called me one day and said they needed help. And I said, okay, I'll talk to Rick. And I went up to help one weekend. And then they said, okay, you did a great job. We're going to have you run it. That's
wow.
literally how it happened.
You're nominated.
Yes. And so it's been
Well, we
5
had a
years
lot of
now.
other people looking at, and she was the best candidate. So
5 years.
Good
Yes.
choice.
Yes.
she was the
Wow.
only candidate, maybe.
It does take an army of people. It's all of us to be able to make one event run. And then with the Loudon Classic, that is its own animal, that so many other responsibilities come with that, and having that purse donated is huge. But there's a lot of other commitments that come with that as well. So
Who donated the purse? I thought I heard it was an anonymous person that didn't want to
Correct.
be.
Doesn't
yes, it is
Can you
doesn't
imagine
wanna
that?
be mentioned.
Somebody donated $400,000 to keep the dream alive here.
It's-
And you guys don't. We're not asking you to donate $400,000, but we want you to show up and share this podcast so more of your friends will show up, and then we'll keep this thing going.
We want to keep racing alive, and even if you just come to watch, it's so exciting to hear the bikes and to smell the fuel, like John was saying earlier, and just watch them go and lean and into the turns and everything else. It's very exciting.
Tell me, is there a sidecar race
No,
any longer?
there is USCRA, and I think other. There's another series that runs older machines, and I think they still have sidecars, but there's not that many of them running anymore.
Okay, that was kind of a pinnacle for me when I would go up and watch just as a spectator. I really enjoyed watching that, but there's so much going on there, whether you're in the stands or you're down right in the paddock looking at the bikes up close. You know, it's really, there's not a bad view there anywhere as a spectator.
Right. No, and at the classic, the classic race itself, we're launching 32 bikes at once. And if you're down on the front straightaway and to see 32 bikes launch off the line, with the lights go off and into turn one, I hold my breath every year just because it's like, it could be mayhem, but
it's like thunder.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
The ground shakes.
It's sensational, and you're that close to the action, whether you're outside the track or inside the track. It's really fantastic.
Yeah. And I think the ability for people to get so close to the motorcycles, going out there where you can feel the speed, watching it on TV or from a distance is not the same as being right there in person.
Indeed, you can see the riders' faces inside the helmets as they're going by. It's really exciting. Yep. And to have ridden there and to watch as a spectator, I have a keen understanding of what they're going through while they're out there, especially when it's raining. I kind of always like the rain myself.
Yeah. The rain's, the equalizer, right?
It is, definitely. Yep.
You can be, you don't have the money for the motor or the machinery that way, but once it rains, it levels the field pretty quickly.
Some of the riders that excel in the rain might come out of the mid-pack on a dry race, but in the rain they'll be out front. So it's a great time to capitalize on that skill.
Without a doubt.
Yep. It doesn't always rain there, though, does it?
It seems like lately we're in New England, and
I feel like that's a trick question.
yeah.
I could always tell when it was going to rain. I could feel the cold updraft. I go, oh boy, here we go.
Now, Loudon definitely creates its own weather, it seems.
And sometimes it's raining on half the track, and sometimes
Correct.
or half and not the other half, I should say.
Yes.
So I'm looking at the schedule here, and it looks like the main event is Saturday at around 3:15. Does that sound right?
Yes.
25 laps, the 102nd Loudon Classic presented by Dunlop. Dunlop will be there. Mountain Tires and Selling Tires. And then you have the Pro 500 Superbike before that, a 10-lap race. And then at 1:15, a little earlier, is the Street Fighter presented by Ducati. So can you describe it's really small print. It's like 8 point on here, and it's quite a bit here. 2 pages of it. There's so much going on. There's so many different, it's like nonstop racing for
3 days.
3 days.
How many classes you mentioned before?
The list, what are we at, 78?
I think it's 78 different classes for our club races, plus 4 pro races that we have. So we're running 82.
That's an amazing amount of effort.
78, this whole list right here. 78 different classes. It's insane. So there's something for everybody. And then you have you have 14 races on Sunday. It'll be
Right.
nonstop
Yes.
action all day long.
How many laps are a race, John?
Most of our sprint races are 8 laps, and then we have what they call the Dash for Cash, is our equivalent to our weekly series, or our monthly series version of the classic. So a lot of our local guys race in that because there's a purse involved in that, a $2,000 purse on a regular series event.
That helps offset the cost of racing, which can get kind of expensive.
Yeah, I mean, you say yes and no, because like even the winner's coming away with $700, and I think a set of tires is $700. So.
Yeah, well, easy come, easy go, I
Yeah.
guess.
The big money is during the Loudon Classic, where there's $400,000 on that one day. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Split amongst 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 classes, with $260,000 going to the main event.
I
25.
think there's only 4 classes.
Oh, 4?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a bonus.
Yeah, we have a locals bonus to help our local riders. So we have the regular purse, and then if you qualify as being a local rider, which means that you rode in 2 races last year and 1 race before the Classic this year qualifies you for being a local, and that just gives basically our locals is equivalent to a privateer type of thing, so that the smaller guy has a chance of winning more money than they've ever won.
That's fantastic. I really like that idea. And noticing the purse paid out in the Classic all the way to 32nd place,
Yes.
Yes.
that's incredible.
They
I
get
mean,
$650 for 32nd place. That's unbelievable.
I can see people really scrapping, trying harder, coming from a long ways away to Loudon. People that might not have ever come there before. That money will draw talent out. And
Not only that, do we pay that deep, we pay right away, where I know that it's definitely other organizations, they don't pay you right away. And remember the old days, the AMA races that we used to go to, Billy, they gave you an envelope at the end of the day.
I remember.
And so now it's electronic, and it's not instantaneous like that, but it's within the week of when the race ends.
Cool. Your check's in the mail.
You're right.
Right.
What are the main bike that they're riding in the main event? What is it? What is that?
I mean, it's what they call the new generation super sport bikes, which are regulated electronically to try to even off the field. But those are mostly the new Yamaha R9, the Ducati V2, the Suzuki GSXR 750 are probably 3 of the main motorcycles that are raced in that. Besides, our bikes are the middleweight Grand Prix style bikes, and they're 600 cc's that are definitely worked on, where some of them are upwards of 140 plus horsepower.
Wow. So $285,000 up for grabs in that event, and $100,000 in the Street Fighter main event. Then you have Pro Thunder Bike and Pro 500 Superbike. Pro Thunder Bike, that's twins under 750. Is that what?
Under 800 cc's.
Under 800. So something like my Ninja 650, that would work for that class, right?
Yes.
Pretty cool. So from a spectator standpoint, it'll be lots of action. And if you want to get involved and join up for the class, it's 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday.
Right. And then, our ticket is a 3-day ticket. It's $40 for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it gives you, you can walk in, walk out, you can, walk around, go to other places, come back to the track to watch races. But it's pretty affordable. I mean, $40 for 3 days of racing is pretty fair.
All that excitement. There's a lot to look at, a lot to do.
A MotoGP ticket starts at like $120, so it's about a third. It's definitely the best value in racing. 3 days of action.
Now, let me ask you, Noelle, has anyone put a radar gun on the bikes at the end of the straight?
I don't think so.
No, but all the bikes have a GPS on them now. So 156, I think, is pretty much right around the top speed of the bikes at the end of the straightaway.
That's fantastic. That's a very short straightaway.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I mean, like the front straightaway is the fastest part, but the next fastest part is actually between 2 and 3.
Yes, where you're going right straight into a rubber tire wall.
Right.
Yeah, and a very rough transition from there onto the road course. That part of the track is the NASCAR oval, correct?
Correct. And then you come off the oval onto the road course and go up into the original, Briar Turn 6.
The old Turn 6 is still there. That was there from 1962. It's still there.
And we run it in the opposite direction than the Briar track was run, but the bowl's still alive.
Right. Remember back in the day, John, they'd switch it around and run Loudon and backwards. They call it, we called it fondly nodule.
Yes. I actually liked it better going backwards than I did forwards, because you could ride wheelies everywhere.
Yeah, right. There were places where you're dropping away, doing a drop away wheelie. I almost went over backwards at the top of the hill in the wind. The front wheel got light, and of course I stayed on the gas. A gust of wind came under the bike, and I nearly went over backwards, and that was quite close to 100 miles an hour there. And Tony Kondracki, God rest his soul, was up there with a camera. He was a corner worker there at Turn 5, and he got my picture, and he gave me a copy of it, and I folded it and put it in my wallet to remind myself to never do that again.
Yeah, Jeff Heino and I used to have a lot of fun riding wheelies down the backside.
Down the back hill, yeah.
Yeah. And, but we'd always get yelled at saying that, people are looking at us and we're not riding very responsibly, and, cut it out.
Well, Jeff Heino was always on the back wheel, no matter where.
Yeah.
Yeah, you always had a good cushion.
Definitely.
Does NASCAR still race at New Hampshire Motor Speedway?
Yes, they do. I mean, normally they run their event in July. Now they're big events in September. So we're ending our season early. You know, normally we have races in September and sometimes into the beginning of October, but our series ends end of August this year because of the NASCAR schedule.
That kind of puts paid to the cool weather riding at Loudon. You know, the late in the season when it gets cold. You know, I don't know if you'd miss that or not.
Yeah, our first two events haven't been very warm. They've been wet and cold. I think the high in the last event was 52 degrees.
Oh my gosh!
And we had some pretty high winds where bikes were definitely getting moved going underneath the treehouse station. So,
right. Tire warmers are critical now.
Yeah, but even then, the longer you stay out in that colder weather, the tires cool down.
Cold asphalt.
You're not creating heat like you would be if it was warm. So the longer you're out there, the more dangerous it gets.
Right. So it gets more slippery as you get going more quickly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Interesting dynamic.
Yep. And it's been wet.
Yeah. Wow. All those things. Yep. Right. But all the skills you learn go to work on days like that.
Absolutely. And, again, Ken said that, people can come and ride around on their own bikes and be a part of the Penguin School. But, being at the track definitely teaches you how to be a much safer, reliable rider in the dry or on the street itself.
I am a 100% advocate of that. That's a fact. And it changed my street riding going to the track. It really did. It made me a better, more respectful street rider. I learned how to use the brakes at the track, and that crosses over to street use, as well as learning how to maneuver the machine quickly and making split-second decisions. And those are all things that come from the track that work well on the street. And so many things, as you mentioned, that are learned at the school and in racing definitely cross over to make you a safer street rider. I would go riding with my friends and always be behind everybody, and we'd pull over, and I remember once someone asked me, well, you're some kind of expert road racer, how come you're so slow on the street? And I had a short, brief answer for him. Yep.
I mean, Noel's son is just getting his license to ride on the street right now, and his first day out on the street bike, he said it's pretty scary, and he goes, it's not as exciting as he thought it would be. It's much more stressful for him to ride on the street than it is a racetrack.
Right. Now he is a track rider, and he's out on the street now. Yep.
Yes, I'm not that happy about it, but I'd rather have him on the racetrack than out on the street. I mean, there's just too many people that don't pay attention to motorcycles nowadays. Everybody's so distracted. And people question me all the time, why is it okay for him to go race but not go on the street? And everybody at the racetrack is all geared up. They're all going in the same direction. They all have the same goal in mind. Safety is right there. I feel so much more safer having him on the racetrack with everybody there than on the street, unfortunately, nowadays.
Oh, that's the way it is, though.
And I love bikes, so don't get me wrong. I grew up on them, but
there's no driveways. There's no people looking down at their cell phones going the other way. And if there's a hole in the surface, everybody knows where it is, and it doesn't move.
Exactly.
It's a controlled surface. If there's debris on the track, it's cleared away right away. Everyone knows about it. There's clear riders' meetings that tell the racers about the dangers, if there are any exceptions for this day's racing. There's a lot about track racing, club racing, that's way better than or way safer than on the street.
Yeah, any hard objects covered with something soft, you don't have to worry about getting a speeding ticket. I mean, it's and then if you happen to have an incident, there's safety personnel right there on top of you right away.
That's right. In a tire truck, in case your tires wear out, and if you need brake pads, you go see the folks at Street and Comp.
No, it's Seacoast Sports Cycle
Seacoast,
now.
yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Miles doesn't make the trip up anymore.
Okay, right.
That's interesting that you say it's safer than the street, and I definitely agree. It's totally insane out there on the roads. These people are texting, not even looking at the road. But so this is a call to action for you guys watching to come meet us all at the track this weekend at the Loudon Classic. So June 13th through the 15th. And if you can't make that event, there are 6 other events that they hold throughout.
We've
the
already
season.
had 2, so we have basically 4 left, including the Loudon Classic.
So don't miss out. Get off the couch, put the cell phone down, fire up the camper, pack the cooler, bring the family. Are they dog friendly? Can they bring their dog?
As long as they're on a leash and they pick up after their dogs.
There you go. So you can bring your dog, bring the kids, and get involved in a sport that is a lot of fun. And you'll find that there's plenty of support there if you need help figuring out how to do it. I'm going there a total novice. I've never been on I raced motocross for years, but I've never been on a road racing track. So I'm going to show up and learn the ropes from these guys and Eric Wood, and looking forward to it, and hope to see some of you guys there. So
I'll definitely be there. I mean, to get tickets, you can just go onto nemrr.com, and there's a ticket button, or you can there's a QR code on the posters that we're showing on the posters that you're posting on the screen right now. So you can use the QR code, or you can go to nemr.com and get your tickets.
is your schedule on there too, on nemr.com?
Yes.
Check it
Schedule,
out.
the breakdown of the purse, a little history about things, different types of racing. I mean, we have in the club we started a streets, what do we call
Super
it?
Street.
Super Street series. And what that is people can take bikes their own bikes that they ride every day, and they just tape up the glass area and do some small things, take mirrors off, the license plate off, and they can do a track day. And once you can pass tech for a track day, you can do this Super Street series and get your whistle wetted of what racing might be, and you can find out if it's for you or not. It's like a stepping stone.
One more time, what exactly do they have to do to the bike to make it?
Basically, you have to take tape up the mirrors, tape up any glass areas, take the license plate off, and pretty much ride.
That's great. Great stepping stone. That's an
Yeah.
awesome way into the sport to get actually out on the track itself, which can be intimidating. To go out there and actually experience it firsthand. It's wonderful.
Right, it's very entryway without the full commitment, and probably 40% of the people that do that convert into real racers. Not that Super Street's not real racing, but it's definitely a different level of bike.
It's a gateway. Is there a flag in that race?
We use the light system now for starts.
Yeah. Showing my age.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. So
You
there's
can't
lights.
cheat. You can't cheat the light system,
That's
Billy.
right. Darn it.
Believe me, I used to be able to pick up habits of flaggers, and
Yep.
you used to get some great launches. But now it's I've probably had 3 different penalties on starts.
Oh gosh. All right.
So after you complete the school, then you're eligible for the Super Street class. Is that what it was called?
Yes.
And what's the stepping stone from there? Is there different levels?
From Super Street, then you get a full license, because the Super Street's kind of like a half license, like a learner's permit, and you don't pay the full license fee. You pay half of it, and from there you go into be a novice racer, and you either have to have gone through the Penguin School's basic course, which is a licensing course, which you can do as your first event with Penguin. You can be a track experience rider, or you can go through the basic course. The cost is the same. It's $250. And so, but you go through that, you get a certificate, you do a rookie race with us, and then you're a novice racer. And there's 4 different classes of machinery for the novice classes. And from there, we automatically bump you into an amateur series, and then at amateur, things start getting a little more serious of what it was. And in the old days, the amateur was called the junior series, but now it's just amateur, and then you go from there from time threshold into an expert racer. And expert racers are usually the top level racers at the club.
So is it a points accumulation from novice to amateur to
It's
expert?
a time threshold.
Time. So they don't let you in the amateurs unless you go on amateur speed, and you're not riding with experts unless
Exactly.
you can show the lap times worthy
I
of
mean,
it.
it's the time threshold and showing that you're consistent, because we do have riders that can get to the time threshold, but we think they need to stay a novice a little longer because their skills aren't honed well enough, or we feel that they're not that reliable as far as being predictable where they are for line.
Safety first.
Yes.
Yep.
And there's separate races for each class.
Yes. That's why we have 78 classes.
So the novice guys aren't getting lapped or causing problems for the experts, right?
No, we never let novices race with anything other than novices.
That keeps it safe.
There's 2 waves usually in the expert. There's expert and then amateurs.
I mean, some of our races are 3 waves actually. So we try to launch no more than 12 to 16 bikes at once, and but so like one race could have 3 to 4 races actually racing in the same race.
And some of the fast guys in the first wave might catch up to the back of the last wave.
Yeah, they usually do.
Yeah,
So.
and that happens. It happened to me when I went back after many years. I was at the back of the expert pack, and the amateurs were passing me. Yeah. And it was a little unnerving for me, but, you know.
Yeah, no.
It went around safely.
When I came back, I had the same issue because, you know, you get out there and you think, all right, this should be good, and you're getting passed by someone that shouldn't be passing you, but it's humbling, but it's part of racing.
That's true. Yep.
There's if you do a search online on YouTube under Kaplan and Laconia, there's a bunch of film from the 100th anniversary, that race that we were at, where they had the 10 red flags and all the action from the rain. But and there's a lot of videos online of the track if you want to check it out. I think you'll enjoy those and give you an idea of what you're getting into. And there's some pit walks that we did and some interviews with the riders. They give you an idea, so have a preview of what you'll see when you get up there. And you'll be welcome. They'll be glad to see you. And I think you'll have a great time. Plus, you're going to get a free museum ticket if you mention this podcast. Just say Kaplan's podcast, and you'll get a free ticket to come to the New England Motorcycle Museum. So we hope to see you guys there.
Ken, you're pretty excited. Excuse me, Ken, you're pretty excited about your penguin school.
I am very excited. Yeah, Billy was helped me pick out all the gear. I'm a motocross guy, so if you want help with motocross stuff, I'm your Huckleberry. But with road racing, it's a whole different sport.
Yeah,
so
whole different costume. You got different boots. You got different clothing.
Yeah.
And different helmet, gloves, the whole business. But again, it's all about safety. Now, Ken, you put all that gear on and hopped on that Kawasaki. What did you think of it?
I felt like I was ready to win some championships.
Right.
I got to make sure my ego doesn't write a check that my riding skills can't cash, though.
That's right. And your angels don't.
Yeah.
Your angels?
Don't apply faster than you can ride.
That's right.
The junior's not too pleased that I'm taking up this new hobby at 60 years old, but he wants me here and healthy. But I'm just going to go slow. I'm ready for this. I don't think I'm going to ride like I do on a dirt bike. Just going to go out and have fun.
Yeah, that should last about, what do you think, 1 lap, 2 laps, Billy?
Once a racer, always a racer, right? Yep.
But Ken, a lot of people are asking me about the live stream for the Loudon event. What are your guys' plans for that?
That would be Tyler behind the camera there. You'd have to pipe in on that.
So yeah, for the live stream, that's something that's just determining cell service. So as long as we have cell phone service there, we're able to live stream. We can make that happen 100%.
Yeah, we definitely have very good cell service there. So I mean, but we have a lot of people coming a lot of different ways, and they weren't able to watch the event. So people would be pretty excited to have it live streamed. So this is a very big positive for us.
Yes. Not only are we going to live stream, but we're also going to have full, full coverage of the entire event, professional coverage. So it's going to be top tier.
And if people want to, during your dead time, are you going to be running ads where people can buy ad space from this? So what are you guys doing there?
No, we're basically just volunteering out of the goodness of our heart. But if anybody wants to kick in and sponsor the event, call John up at the Speedway and just show up. That's what we really want you to do.
Well, all this discussion about the track and thinking about the pits and the pit garages and all the riders, some of the riders are stars. It's a facility that you could basically eat off the floor in a lot of places. Like there's.
I don't know if I go that far, Phil.
Well, it's a NASCAR facility. It's a top-notch facility.
It's
really
definitely
is.
way different than Briar, where you and I cut our teeth of racing. I mean, the pit area at Briar was on rocks and stones, and the bathroom, you're better off finding someplace else to go. But this is a real facility.
Out in the woods. This is a real top-notch facility. I know as a rider there, you go in the shower and it's beautiful, fantastic. Nothing like the old course was. When you came off the old course with hot tires, you drive into that sand and rocks, it would stick to your tires. So you'd have like Flintstone tires when you go back out on the track. It was terrible. Yeah, but no longer like that at all. And there's beautiful areas, grassy areas where riders come and camp out, outside of the pits, which is really kind of nice. And it is New Hampshire. It's surrounded by beautiful mountains and scenery everywhere. And as a spectator, when you leave the track, there's always something to do. There's beautiful back roads, twisty back roads to ride on, and scenery, lakes and ponds, and it's just a great part of the country that I love very much. I spent a lot of time up there over the years.
Now, Loudon's pretty special.
You're only 15 miles from Weir's Beach too. We got to, so if you're up there for bike week, just get on your bike and take a ride over any one of these days, and you'll have a great time. You can go to the demo rides. And if you time it right, you'll catch one of the big races with all the top pros out there.
And right there by Weir's Beach is where they have that asphalt hill climb you're talking about.
Tower
right?
Hill.
Tower Hill
Yes.
Road, yeah. Yeah, and that they run classic bikes up there, and it just looks like a blast. Ken's been trying to get me to bring my TZ up there, and I'm like, I don't know.
I think you're shooing for the podium on that thing for sure.
Well, either that or a new clutch. So
Yeah, I was thinking more about those magnesium engine cases, and like maybe missing a shift and going boom,
There's videos on our channel of the Tower Hill climb. Billy and I were there a couple years ago, and it was really cool seeing bikes from the 20s and 30s and bikes from the 70s, old triple two-strokes with old guys on them rocketing up Tower Hill, which is literally right on Weir's Beach. You can park your bike there and walk over. So pretty cool event.
Yeah, Weir's Beach right there on Lake Winnipesaukee, and another beautiful area of the country. Looking over the lake with the mountains in the background, right in the foothills or near the foothills of the White Mountains.
there's so much to do up there, and I think the disappointing part is that a lot of people don't realize that the racing is still going on at the track and has been for 102 years, and the whole bike event up in New Hampshire started because of racing, and that people have gotten away from that a little because of many different reasons, but it's again amazing to me how many people are not aware that we're still racing up there.
Right. Back in the day, they raced at the Belknap circuit, which was in a whole different area. It was it was basically a road course with regular old streets, or roads, I guess you call them, country roads. They were all tied together in kind of an awkward triangle, I guess.
Correct.
Yeah. But then they built that beautiful track that was the old Loudon, which I think they opened that in 1962 or 60.
Briar
Yeah.
Briar Park. And so, that was the original track, and then in 1990 it changed it over to the new super speedway.
Right, and I cried when I knew they were tearing up that old the Briar. I literally drove up there to see it with my own eyes. It's 2.5 hours to drive up, and there was snow all over the place and construction equipment, and the old track was gone except turn 6. Yeah, everything was all ripped up, and I kind of felt bad about it. I spent so much happy time on that course. But the new course is the same length exactly, 1.6 miles, and it's well established now, for sure.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. We even like some of the AMA guys that came there and working for Moto America now, they hadn't been there since Briar, and their memories of what Loudon was Briar. And then they came up and said, "Whoa, there's no water, there's no pond to go into. There's the pit area is in all rocks and pebbles," and a lot of people basing their decisions of what type of track it was based on their old vision of what it was. And it's definitely not that anymore.
Speaking of what it was, back in the 80s, they had a motocross track that New England Sports Committee used to race at, and I've done quite a few laps around. Matter of fact, won my first race as an amateur there. I have some really cool memories of that track. I think it was that was 1986, and I don't know what year they closed the motocross track, but
I think 86 or 87, I think was the end of it.
that was the end. Then I was there at the very end.
Right, Ken, I can remember coming around out of turn 3 into turn 4, and the dust from your motocross bikes were blowing across the track, and I'd be condemning you guys like, God darn it.
Yeah, we could hear you racing over on the other side too, but we're too busy riding in the dirt to come check out what you guys were doing. So
Yep. There were some treacherous parts of that course, and I remember when the GSXR series started, they were paying big bucks. I think it was $1,500 for 10 laps. That's 16 miles for $1,500 for first place. Everybody thought they were going to win and pay for their bikes in a few race weekends. Well, that didn't work out, and in fact, there was one accident that happened from someone's oil filter spinning off, and it oiled the track, and everybody wound up in the pond.
I think it was Joey Osowski's. I was running like 8th when that happened, and I didn't
You
go
were in that
down.
race. You were in that race.
I was in that race, and I remember just going lock to lock to lock, and all of a sudden got to turn 6, and not turn 6, turn 4, and I was still upright, and I don't know how I stayed up, but a lot of people went into the pond.
Edgar was the one that went in the pond underneath. He was pinned under a bike,
Right, his own bike or somebody's bike. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was saved by the corner workers. Yeah, that was a little bit awkward on turn 3 there, going off the track and into the water. There's a video of that online.
Yeah, no, it's
Very well chronicled.
I remember it well. It was definitely a pretty scary event because there was, trying to think, there was probably 25 or 28 bikes in the field, and I think all but 5 probably didn't go down.
Right, there you go. Stayed up.
Yeah, I got lucky.
Like, no, you're the guy that likes riding in the slippery stuff.
Yeah.
Oil, not so much. But.
Yeah, no, it was definitely scary.
Yep.
So, what any other closing comments on what you'd like to see Loudon become after 102 years? And we really need you guys to show up, so there'll be 103 years. So,
yeah, I mean, essentially, Noel and I are the ones that are tasked with most things because we're the people that don't have any other commitment than making the series work. And we have a lot of people that we depend on that have real jobs, and they work for us for pennies on the dollar, basically, and we appreciate everything they do. But, it's people always say, well, maybe you should have your marketing team look at this or your medical team look at this. And Noel and I look at each other and go, well, okay.
What do you think?
And it's crazy because there's so many moving pieces to making this work, and we couldn't do it with everyone's help. But we definitely try to run a professional race, and it's I think a lot of people around the country have found out that we can do it, and we run a good race, and it's rewarding afterwards, but it's pretty nerve-wracking coming up into it.
So this is a call out to you guys to actually get involved as a rider through the Penguin Road Racing School. If you want to volunteer, you can come, and if you're not ready for that, you can come and spectate. Either way, you'll feel like you're part of a family and a sport that's been going on for 102 years. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, if you come to the track, you'll see me running around, and I'm more than welcome to talk to anybody, help point people in the right direction, and all of our staff are accommodating for that. And some people that are shy that say, hey, is there such and such or so-and-so of a rider here, and where are they pitted? And we'll bring you over, and we'll introduce you to them, and you get to, we have some of the, best national guys from Motor America coming to race with us, and those guys love, having fans around and people around to show them what they do.
And there's guys like Rick Breen that you can meet there who know everybody and can show you around, and even if you are clueless when you show up, you'll leave feeling like you know what's going on there and part of the action.
Yeah, we introduced you to Rick and had Rick bring you around on the 100th Classic, and I think hopefully we get him down here to talk to people on the podcast. And he's definitely a wealth of knowledge, and he knows pretty much everybody at the track. And we have a lot of personalities at the track besides Rick Breen that are pretty interesting. We have Eric Block and High Strung, and we got some great guys. It's just fun. It's a family atmosphere for sure.
We can get Eric Wood down from the Penguin Road Racing School to do a podcast with us and talk about how to get involved from the man himself, who's actually been running the school for many years, right?
Right. He took it over from his father. His brother and himself took over Penguin Racing School, and he's been involved. I remember when we were there, they were the two snot-nosed kids that were, dragging one of them back that were riding the back on their dirt bikes and looked like they, went through World War III. And so, but they've grown up now, and they're very responsible individuals.
Excellent. Billy, any other closing thoughts?
Yeah, I was thinking, John, as you were talking about, the family aspect of it, and if it's a friendly environment, everybody looks out for one another. I showed up there out of the blue, and we got reacquainted right away. I needed help. I didn't have a pit garage, so you opened your garage for me. I didn't have any money, as I was telling you earlier. I didn't have 2 nickels to rub together, and I was trying to qualify to go race overseas. So you welcomed me in, and then when my bike crapped out, you said, take mine. I go, go, are you kidding me? No, take the Kawasaki, the 300. I go, oh, wow. Well, that's the kind of thing that, you're not talk, you're action, and that's really, that's the way the club is.
Yeah, it's just not me that does that. I mean, it's been many different riders that have either given parts, taken parts off of their motorcycle to give somebody else to use, or letting them use a motorcycle. I mean, we've had some top-level riders that had bad luck and, used one of the club riders' bikes, or, we had even club riders that no one knew come along and people help out. That's what we do.
Another example is Tim O'Connor. I was in his class with a TZ, and my clutch broke. He gave me a clutch, and I went out there and raced against him. Of course, he beat me, but it still was. That's just the camaraderie of it.
No, it's awesome. I mean, I think Noelle and I pride ourselves on the family that we have there, and we try to make it family friendly and fun, and a lot of other things for people to do.
Yeah, we try to have a lot of different activities, especially after the races on Saturday night. We try to have cookouts and games and all kinds of different things just to keep people together and doing things.
Noel, what do you see? What's your take on the past, the present, and the future of the series at Loudon, and how can the people watching help us grow it?
Just getting involved, and honestly, even just being a spectator keeps the series running, because every armband sold helps pay for everything that needs to run, and there's a lot of bills that need to be paid when you're running a racing series. So it doesn't, if you want to come and race, if you want to come and hang out, if you want to just sit in the stands, every part of that helps keep racing alive and going. And that's the main thing with us, trying to make it a family-friendly event, trying to tell people it's okay, bring your kids, have fun, we're going to have activities, bring your dogs, and, just be responsible human beings while you're there. But we all want to have fun and enjoy each other's company while we're there. There's a restaurant there, there's bathrooms, there's showers. You can camp inside the infield during a normal race weekend. During the Loudon Classic, it's a little tight, but you can camp outside, and your armbands get you there for the whole weekend. You can come and go as you please. But it's very exciting. There's a lot of things that are going on to just keep people entertained.
Right from the infield, can you see the whole course if you're on top of a van? Pretty much?
Most of it.
Most of it.
All of it.
Yes.
Almost all of
Yeah.
it can be seen from one spot, which
Yeah.
is really kind of neat.
Yeah.
It's there's a lot of elevation change there. Or turn 5, or turn 8 maybe now on the top of the hill.
Right. I think my best advice to people is to not just stay in one spot.
Move around.
Because you want to experience different parts. You want to experience one in watching from turn 1 or on the main straight to feel the bikes launch from 0 to 100 miles an hour to turn 1 in a pack of 30 plus bikes. It's you feel it. You feel it in the ground, in the air, in the atmosphere. It's just great. But then you want to go up to the bowl and watch in turn 6, and then we have a special area now called the Granite Ledge area, where people can buy basically a 10 by 15 area, put up a pop-up and do a tailgate up there and bring a grill and take care of that whole thing. There's very limited spots. I think, what do we have? 14, 15?
There's 14, and we've sold 4 so far.
Right. So for $700, you get 10 VIP tickets. You get parking right there. You can pull your truck up, pull out a grill, put up a pop-up, and Granite Ledge, you can see 95% of the track from that spot, which is amazing.
I've been on that spot, and it's beautiful there. You can see it. It's like you're in a low-flying aircraft looking down over the track. At turn 6, there's a grandstand on the outside of the turn where you can sit and enjoy racing for hours. And
exactly. And so you move around. But, I mean, the Granite Ledge area is just unique just because, you get 10 tickets, but you can probably, each area, you can probably put 20, 25 people in there if you want to. And there's an extra expense for those people to come in there. But it's your own party.
I saw some campers up there last time.
There are campers to the side of it now. When you're looking from the track out to it, they're on the left side of that. And there is camping areas that right next to the Granite Ledge area.
That's the best seat in the house.
It's a best kept secret, honestly.
Not anymore.
Secret's out.
So yeah, guys, you guys watching, please hit the like and subscribe button. Comment on there what you'd like to see at the Loudon Classic, and or if you're coming, and what you'd like the next podcast to be. So we'll try to fulfill those requests. And we thank you all for watching. Is there any other thing we missed?
No, we just all look forward to having you guys come and, have somebody win the bike that Ken's giving away. I think it's pretty exciting, and that adds another flair to us, for another reason for people to come watch the races. But, come watch the races if you've never witnessed watching a road race in person. You owe it to yourself to come to this event.
I've been going for years, and just standing on the front straightaway when they go by at 150 miles an hour, the ground shaking, the smell of the race fuel, the rubber, it's spectacular. It's something you really got to experience to appreciate.
No, it's great. I mean, on the start line, there was a guy that had this Buell, air-cooled Buell, and when he rev it up to launch it, it would scare me being on the bike next to him, because the ground, my feet were vibrating from the Buell trying to stay together before it got launched. And it's just fun, because I've been doing it for a long time, and I still get, come through the tunnel, and it's like all of a sudden, oh, here we go again. The adrenaline starts running up, and you're home, and you're going to go out there and have fun.
It's a racing mecca for sure.
Yes.
Any of you guys that bought one of the 185 horsepower Buell road racers from us this year or last year, consider yourself invited. And if you're up there for the, I'm 99.9% sure I'll be there for the school. You can pit with me out of the transporter. It'll be like having a factory ride. Hang out with us, and we'll put you in all the videos. So if you got a Buell from us and you want to come up, give them a call, show up, sign up, and get involved. You got the right bike for it. It's got way more horsepower than any mortal needs, that's for sure. 185 horsepower.
No, it's crazy. The bikes and the electronics on the bikes these days to make it easier for people to ride and handle those horsepower. So it's now I use my clutch only to launch the bike, and I never use the clutch again, because quick shift on one direction and auto blips in the other direction, and it's crazy, the technology.
Lightweight, 419 horsepower with 419 pounds with 185 horsepower. I had it backwards, and killer brakes. So that'll be eventually, if I do any good at the school and I feel safe on the little 650, I'll jump up to the 1190. We'll see how that goes. Time will tell.
Your son won't be very happy with you.
It probably not. Christy either. I got to be here to run this place.
Yeah.
So, and
just so everyone knows that Ken was saying in the beginning it was like a 50-50 shot for him to be at the Penguin School. Now it's a 99% chance.
It's going up. It's going up. I'm pretty much committing. The thing, I thought the school was during the middle of the week on Thursday and Friday, but it's actually the week before Bike Week. And I'm going to be at Americade and Thompson Speedway. So Junior's not too happy. I'm the project manager here, so we've got a lot of bikes. We sold 300 motorcycles in the last 60 days, and it creates a lot of opportunity for work and things to go wrong. So I'm always here putting the pieces together for 12 hours a day. So, but I love going to these events. Ever since I was a kid, I would work. I always worked really hard in our businesses, and my reward would be to go to Laconia and to go to Americade. And actually, it was really Laconia and Daytona were the two big ones. And I'm talking, for the last 35 years, that's what I would do. So it's and now it's my job, I guess. I'm kind of retired, but this is my job, and yeah, I love it. It's awesome. I'm gonna have a blast there. I'm sure it'll go by really fast, and meet a lot of new friends, and hopefully some of you guys will watch and I'll show up too, and we'll have a good time. So with that, I guess we'll wrap it up, unless anybody else has any.
Oh, it'd just be great to see everybody there. And again, don't be shy if you see myself or Noel or Bill or Ken walking around. I'm sure that, just give a shout out, say, hey, saw you guys on the podcast, and, help me. I'm trying to figure out my way around. We'll be more than helpful.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. If you see us there, stop by and say hello. We'd love to see you all there. And again, please share this with your friends, and we hope to see you up there. It's coming up quick. What is it?
Noel, how many days is it?
22 days.
22 days.
Not that you're counting or anything, but T-minus 22.
Correct.
It's going to be a great event, and you've got some real super legend racers, heroes showing up to fight for this $400,000, right?
No, we have some of the top riders in the country coming to this, and it'll be fun to watch them duke it out. Last year, Tyler Scott broke the outright track record on a 750, which was held before by a Superbike 1000, and he did it on a 750 that was actually electronically controlled to where it wasn't a full 750, and he got below the 110s. He did a 109, and
Had you seen the track before?
It was the second year, but the first year was in the rain.
It's not an easy track to learn. It's very difficult to learn, but he must be a quick study.
Yeah, but to do a 109, that you're flying, you're moving. To do a minute 9 seconds around that thing.
What are the Penguin class times? 2 minutes?
No, probably around 135, 145.
Okay. About 50% slower. That sounds about right.
You're moving though, still.
Yeah, you'll feel like you're going fast, and so
Hopefully we'll be able to put a camera on me so we can share the experience with you
yeah,
guys.
you can definitely ride around with a camera with it. There's just certain regulations to how it has to be tethered to make sure if it doesn't fall off, basically.
Tyler's got that covered.
I did my homework. I know everything that we need, safety wire and all that stuff. So you'll be set up. Don't worry.
All right. We're going to have to change the date on our schedule to the previous week. We hope to all see you there. Thanks again for watching, and God bless America.
Thank you.